Representative Kathy McMorris-Rodgers. She's literally walking out of the Republican meeting. She's going to deal with us in the second half of the show and tell us a lot of the details and thinking behind this new Republican plan. Now, our question is, will the GOP's Pledge for America be the savior for the U.S. economy? And I'm calling it their big freeze on big government. Is gridlock going to be good? Let's bring in our guests. We have Joy Reid, editor of the Reid Report, columnist for the Miami Herald. And we have syndicated radio talk show host Ben Ferguson. Hello to both of you. Hey. Ben, what do you think? Is this the savior? It's going to save the country, the economy? How do you read this?
I think it's a good start. I mean, one of the biggest things about this is they're saying no more big government spending. The other thing is they're saying no more bailouts of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. And they're also saying to small business people like myself, we're going to give you some tax breaks so you guys can actually start doing things again. I mean, if you look at what is actually in the meat and potatoes of this is great for the economy and for any business owner, including those that make under that $250,000 a year that this president, the Democratic Party, have said these evil, bad Americans that don't pay their fair share. So, yeah, I think it's a great start and people are going to connect with it.
Oh, Joy Reid, evil, bad Americans who don't pay their fair share. And Joy, you read this stuff. We're going to dig deeper into it. This is ultimate gridlock. They are going to contest your man Obama on every single point, Joy. So I ask you, will this save America?
Well, you know what I thought was remarkable about this 20-page or so manifesto was just sort of the banality of it. There's nothing in here that's really new. I was surprised. They sort of shelved kind of the Tea Party revolution, and we're going with the John Boehner Orange Revolution. We're talking about, you know, another $700 billion in tax cuts for the rich. Okay, that's nothing new. But some of this stuff is just downright zany, you know, saying that lawmakers will have to certify as to the constitutionality of their bills. Well, that's unconstitutional. That's the Supreme Court's job. I didn't see anything in it that was really new.
The reason why none of it was new to you is because it's been the same things we've been talking about since Obama got elected that the president's not been listening to. I mean, if the president's not listening, and I mean, I guess you guys want some new form of hope and change. So this old school style of actually cutting taxes and spending and big government, which, by the way, has not worked, hasn't given us better job numbers, has not fixed the housing market. If that's old news to you, then I'm okay with it, and I'll back it up until you guys start listening.
Well, it's old news in the sense that this is basically the same playbook from the George W. Bush era.
But
that's
it's not.
The sense in
I mean,
which it's
I'll
old
even
news.
admit.
No, there's nothing in here that's new. Nothing.
George,
and by the way.
Did spending get out of control with George Bush at the very end? Absolutely. But you also got to remember Democrats were in charge of the budget in 06 and 07, so you got to look at that too.
You know, Joy.
Well, you know what? Let me just give you a. No, go ahead, Larry.
No, you go ahead, Joy. Go ahead. Go right ahead.
No, I was going to say, if you look at the budget as a pie, right, about 60% of what we have in the federal budget is spending that's not discretionary, things like entitlements, Social Security. If you go to the other approximately 40%, half of that is defense. So now you're getting down to just the last 20%. And that's the only part that's really discretionary that people are willing to attack, since nobody wants to get into defense spending. This idea, this manifesto, doesn't even tackle 5% of that. They're talking about freezing TARP. Well, what is there, like $50 billion left in TARP? They're talking about saving $100 billion here, $100 billion there. None of this gets at the deficit. In fact, it adds to the deficit because we have to borrow to do tax cuts for the rich.
What is so fundamentally wrong with saying we're cutting discretionary spending? What is so fundamentally wrong with saying
Hold on. There's nothing wrong with it.
Let me finish. This is saying that we are no longer going to be being big government in this country. We are no longer going to have more stimulus packages that don't work. You act like
see that in this manifesto? It's not in there. Sorry, but you're talking
I'm sorry if you didn't see it or if it was old news to you. If that's old news to you, it's in there, ma'am.
Because
I don't know,
there's
Joy.
nothing in there that is new. They're talking about not doing any hiring with the federal government. What's that?
Which is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, Joy, you're my favorite Obamacon. There's no two ways about it. You are my hero, Obamacon. But I got to tell you, I think you're in a little bit of denial tonight, because I think the shock effect of all these freezes, freezing federal hiring, freezing spending, freezing taxes, and freezing regulations, it really could be freezing big government. And that is the beginning to a free market revolution, Joy. Now, are you sure you understand the revolutionary nature of this revolt that the House is picking up?
Well, I actually think that, Larry, they kind of undersold the revolutionary nature of this revolt. If the Tea Party movement is about fundamentally changing the way government operates and spends, they're not going to find that in this Boehner document. What they're going to find is sort of nibbling around the edges. We're going to go ahead and do some hiring and spending freezes.
Gosh.
Where is the actual attack on Social Security that at least half a dozen Senate Republican candidates are running on getting rid of Social Security? You've got your candidates out there running on radical reform. No radical reform in this bill. It looks like a bill they just don't want to be attacked. We don't want you to attack us.
You've got to get a new printer, because your printer obviously printed the completely wrong document today, because stopping spending in the government and hiring is what's in there. I mean, you can rewrite this as much as you want to.
Is that what the Tea Party movement is about? So you're telling me the whole Tea Party movement boils down to a few hiring freezes with the federal government. What is that, 1.1% of the federal budget deficit?
Again, instead of putting words in my mouth, as a Tea Party guy, a conservative guy, I'll tell you what we're for. We're for less government spending, and we're finally for the president realizing that the government is not going to fix this recession, and government hiring and creating green jobs, as he puts it, and all this new green technology is not going to save the average American who is out of work right now, or give average Americans a chance to survive and to strive in this economy. That's what this is about.
All right, so let me...
Okay, my turn? My turn now?
Yes,
okay,
go ahead.
Larry.
Please, Joy, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that you're talking about, the Tea Party movement. So the Tea Party movement is about some small nibbling around the edges changes in government hiring.
What are you suggesting then?
Are running on getting rid of
changes?
Social Security. Your candidates are not running on this. I'm suggesting that people who are in the Tea Party movement are going to look at this and they're going to see Boehnerism, and they're going to want to replace him with Michelle Bachmann, because
Larry,
your candidates are running on privatizing Social Security.
All right, Ben, on the way out. Okay, look, Joy makes a point. There is nibbling. I mean, you have to start someplace. But Ben, here's the way I'm thinking about it. You tell me. A nibble in the direction of freezing big government, a nibble in the direction of free markets has to be a good thing. I acknowledge the nibble, but if it's the right nibble, Ben, doesn't that amount to huge change?
Well, you know what? I think they're realistic about knowing what they can and can't do against this president and the Democrats that are in office. They know they can't take big bites at anything, and this Democratic Party has had no bipartisanship at all. Now, they blame the Republicans for blocking everything, but they have the votes to do whatever they want in the House and the Senate. They looked at this and said, we're in the minority, we're dealing with the president, we're going to do what we think we can actually do and not claim this big hope and change that we know we can't offer. So a nibble right now, or just putting the brakes on, is about all we can ask for, and it's a great step in the right direction.
Larry, can I give a piece of bipartisanship here? I think let's do a proposal we can all agree on.
Absolutely.
I thought Mitch Daniels came out with a bold plan that made a lot of sense that I think you and I, because you are my favorite Reagan conservative, Larry, and I think we can both agree that if we did Mitch Daniels' payroll tax holiday, that would actually do something for the economy. And by the way, the Obama plan included federal hiring freezes and slowdown on hiring, so this is not anything new. But if we did something like what Daniels proposed, which is a serious proposal, more so than this, then I think we'd be moving in the right direction.
The question is, what was it attached to? Yesterday, you had everything attached to the defense spending bill, including immigration and don't ask, don't tell. So the problem is, you guys attach so much stuff. Fine, point the finger. We're in the minority. We can't stop everything. We're in the minority. We can't fix everything.
Yes, you stopped everything. That's what the Republicans have done.
No, you guys have had the votes to do whatever you wanted to do.
With filibusters. Not
please.
true. They required 60 votes just to go to the bathroom.
You're both great. We're going to have you back because this is such a great, it's a great argument. It's a great analysis, and I think it's a great nibble. That's where I'm going to come out on this. Joy Reid, you're the best. Ben Ferguson, you are the best. Thanks ever so much.
Thanks for having us.
Coming up on Kudlow, the Vice